Mechanism of concentration of the filtrate. Let me put the heading first. Mechanism of the concentration of the filtrate. So particularly this is the feature we have to talk about. We discussed about the urine formation earlier. But this is the feature which is there only in the mammals. Here a special kind of feature which we have to say in the mammals. Mammals have the ability to produce the concentrated urine. Okay, so what we are talking about, what we are going to discuss about, that the concentration, ability of the concentration of the formation of concentrated urine. Okay, so particularly we are talking about the Henle's loop. The Henle's loop and vasa recta play a significant role in this particular formation of concentrated urine. The flow of filtrate in the two limbs of Henle's loop is in opposite direction, and this is going to form the counter current. So what is it? To go for that, first of all, let me show you the nephron, Bowman's capsule, proximal convoluted tubule, and descending and ascending limb of Henle's loop, descending and ascending limb of Henle's loop, and distal convoluted tubule. That what we are seeing till the time that I am showing you back again, and this line we made it for so many times. What's that? Above the line, what is present? Cortex. Very good. Below the line, medulla. What is the line actually? That Henle's loop is present in the renal medulla. So to understand that, we made a line, renal medulla. Now here it is medulla, then upper one is cortex, and if I make one more line here, one more line, how to we classify this? So this is called outer medulla and inner medulla. Okay, outer medulla, inner medulla. Now in the topic, I am taking this box. This box. I am trying to show you this box in microscope. That means I am elaborating, expanding that particular box, that to understand, to justify our statement, what we made the statement. The flow of filtrate in the two limbs of Henle's loop is in opposite direction and thus forms a counter current. This is a statement I made it up. That to justify that statement, I have to draw a bigger diagram to explain, to show all these. The black one which I am going to draw, that is Henle's loop. Henle's loop, and I'm using red color to draw the vasa recta. Vasa recta. I'm using red color for vasa recta. Okay, the little complicated, but if you focus here, actually your preparation is not at all required over. Just over here itself, with the explanation, you can understand everything. Complicated, but not that much complicated where you can't even learn. That just this lecture make you to understand easily the total scenario. Okay, so what is flowing, that what is that material which is going to flow here? Yes. Yeah, renal fluid. My God, my God. I'm hearing my sound. Renal fluid. Just need to understand what is going here. Renal fluid. And what is here? In vasa recta, we know the flow, the fluid which flows here is the blood. Okay, so what is counter current? What is counter current? If you understand this arrow marks, that we can say that is counter current. And what is this? We name it as, okay. Some problem is there. I don't ask you that who is that Ram Narayan. Descending limb of Henle's loop. This is called descending limb of Henle's loop. Okay. And this is called ascending limb of vasa recta. Ascending limb of vasa recta. Okay. Ascending limb of vasa recta. Okay. Descending limb of Henle's loop ascending limb of vasa recta. Wait. Yeah. Ascending limb of vasa recta. That means just see the two things, you will understand easily. What is counterflow? The flow of the renal fluid in the descending limb of henle loop is opposite to the flow of blood in the ascending limb of vasa recta. Let me write here itself. Let me write here itself, that to understand much better, I am giving the theoretical format for the above lines we drawn here. The flow of renal fluid, is opposite to the flow of renal fluid in the descending limb of henle's loop. The descending limb of henle's loop is opposite to the flow of blood in the ascending limb of vasa recta. The ascending limb of vasa recta. Is it clear? Just what I shown, that I made it in the form of a theoretical statement. Flow of renal fluid in the descending limb of henle's loop is opposite to the flow of blood in the ascending limb of vasa recta. Similarly, we need to see here also. Means the flow of blood here, it is going down. That's why we can say this particular vasa recta as descending limb. So I am going to name this as descending limb of vasa recta. Descending limb of vasa recta. VR I am using. And next, about the flow of fluid in the renal fluid, if you talk about that, it is going up. So what we named the renal fluid is going up. What we named this limb as? Ascending limb of. Yeah, ascending limb of henle's loop. Ascending limb of henle's loop. And need to make a statement here. The similar kind of statement which we made there. Here also we need to go for the similar kind of statement, that the flow of renal fluid. Here I am writing flow of renal fluid in the ascending limb of henle's loop. Ascending limb of henle's loop is opposite to the flow of opposite to the flow of ascending limb of vasa recta. Very good. Descending limb of vasa recta. Okay. Descending limb of vasa recta. Okay. So first of all, we are seeing what is counterflow. Counterflow, which means here the flow of renal fluid in the descending and ascending limb of henle's loop is opposite to the flow of ascending and descending limb of vasa recta respectively. Just I am doing here, mixing two statements as a single statement. Let me say once again, the flow of renal fluid in the descending and ascending limb of henle's loop and ascending limb of henle's loop is opposite to the flow of blood in ascending limb of vasa recta and descending limb of vasa recta respectively. Simple manner, if you want to say, here it is. The flow of renal fluid in the descending limb of henle's loop is opposite to the flow of blood in ascending limb of vasa recta. Here, in simple manner, if you say that flow of renal fluid in the ascending limb of henle's loop is opposite to the flow of blood in descending limb of vasa recta. So that's all, simple. Here, what is the advantage of it, sir? What we use if the flow is like this? What is going to be the advantage? That we have to write. That if you say advantage, that understand it is over. Okay, we used black earlier. Let me use the same. Okay, this is the henle's loop, which I am using black color, and want to say about the flow of blood. Renal fluid is going down. Here descending limb of henle's loop. Okay, now this is ascending limb of henle's loop where flow is going up. Okay. The similar way, I have to draw the vasa recta, vasa recta. Okay. This is vasa recta. Here blood is going down. Blood is going down. That means this is descending limb of vasa recta. Descending limb of vasa recta. Okay. Then after blood will go up, we call it as ascending limb of vasa recta, just to follow the arrow marks, that's all. And our that line we have to draw, that is that about outer medulla and inner medulla. Wait a minute, let me use another color for this. That here it is. Okay. So I'm writing here it as outer medulla because this plays a very vital role here. Outer medulla, inner medulla. Okay. Chalo. Now, one more we want here, that collecting duct. Collecting duct. We need to draw the collecting duct also, because that is also one of the participant here in this case. So that's why I'm going to draw the collecting duct also here. This is collecting duct. Okay. Now what we are going to do here, the concentration gradient of descending limb of vasa recta. The concentration gradient of the descending limb of vasa recta increases towards the inner medulla from outer medulla. When the blood is coming down, the concentration gradient, let me say the concentration gradient here 300 milliosmol. If it is 300 milliosmol per liter, when it reaches down, it reaches to 1200 milliosmol per liter. Okay, sir, how it is happen? That you have to say. When it will happen? When does the concentration gradient is going to be increased? Yeah, very good, very good. As long as the sodium chloride and urea from collecting duct, that as long as sodium chloride and urea is going to add from the DCT as well as collecting duct. Okay. So first of all, let me write. I'm writing here. This is very, very important. Then this is a NEET question even. What I'm saying here, I'm writing concentration gradient of descending limb of vasa recta increases towards the inner medulla. That means here from outer medulla to inner medulla. So why I'm using here, this is NCERT language, but showing complete visible. Okay, then why? If you are able to answer for this why, that's just understand it's over. Why? I'm writing here because it absorbs salts and urea, from the ascending limb of henle's loop, and collecting duct. Okay, so this is the first statement which we are completed. Clear? Is it clear? Simply I am saying here that if it is having 300 milliosmol, by the end, when it reaches to the descending limb of vasa recta, by the end, the concentration gradient is increased. Okay. If it is having this much concentration gradient, definitely what kind of advantage they are going to have when they are going like this? If higher concentration, if any fluid is maintaining, for what? Okay, that's what I am writing here. The second statement, the concentration gradient of ascending limb of vasa recta is going to decrease towards the outer medulla. Means here when you go to the outer medulla, that what happened? The concentration gradient is getting decreased. Now I am writing concentration gradient of ascending limb of vasa recta decreases towards inner medulla, decreases towards inner medulla. Yes, am I wrong? Yes, very good, very good. Outer medulla decreases towards outer medulla. That why I'm making some mistake, that we have four statements like this. One is with inner medulla, one is with outer medulla, one is with ascending limb, other is with descending limb. We'll get like that. Okay, that we wrote now that outer medulla. Why? Why? No, because it absorbs water. Because it absorbs water from descending limb of henle's loop. It absorbs water from descending limb of henle's loop and it returns sodium chloride and urea. It has to return. Even not mentioned in the NCERT, should write this. Otherwise, where it is going, we know. It is going towards the heart. Renal venule, renal vein, postcaval vein reaches to the heart. So that's why we should not carry the sodium chloride and urea. Sir, if we should not carry, why we are absorbed here? Just to maintain the osmolarity gradient, just to maintain the concentration gradient. That means here, if it is, if we understand, if high concentration is there, that means low amount of water. That means it can attract water. Simply, we can say here, the maintaining the high osmolarity gradient this end helpful to attract a more amount of water in this end. Okay, so that's what I'm talking. That on what reason the concentration gradient of the ascending limb of vasa recta decreases towards the outer medulla? Means here we have to say, what we need to say here, what we need to say, because it absorbs water. It absorbs water. It means who is it? Okay, we'll write in detail. We'll write in detail because it absorbs. We wrote above also of because ascending limb of vasa recta absorbs water. Because ascending limb of vasa recta absorbs water and release sodium chloride and urea. Okay, so that means we need to understand this is an intelligent move. By making concentration gradient increase by using sodium chloride and urea, in this term they are able to attract large amount of water. That's what we made a heading that earlier, mechanism of the concentration of the filtrate, which is possible by the characteristic feature of this flow of fluid. We call it as counter flow. Because a feature called counter flow, we are able to, okay, let me show you the contrast to understand it much better. Imagine, not happening, but imagine if the flow of renal fluid in flow of blood, if it is in the same direction, what happens? When they absorb the water, both will become isotonic. Yeah, if they both concentrations, if they become equal, after that the tubule is waste, isn't it or not? Yeah, so that means here that means these kind of opposite flow. Yeah, just you have to imagine. This is not happening once. This is happening all the day. Throughout the day, blood is going like this. and fluid is going like this. When the blood is going like this, it increases the osmolarity gradient and it absorbs the water and leaves sodium chloride and urea. It's going out. Then continuously renal fluid is coming down, that giving water. So how it is giving, sir? Simply we can call it as a beggar's plate. If you remember, I used this. What is beggar's plate here? Maintenance of high concentration. If you are able to maintain high concentration, beggar's plate, let me remind you once again, as I said to you, imagine if you are in transport of gases also, we used this. Imagine if a beggar, the filled 2000 bundles, 2000 note bundles, his plate is completely filled with 2000 note bundles. Okay, then he is asking you add some money, sir. Do you add? No. Even you are giving some money, so just you carry the 2000 bundles, fill his plate. Within a second, he will make it empty and he will show empty plate to all the people. Why? Because he knows the concentration gradient formula. Means here beggar's plate means maintenance of high concentration by adding more sodium chloride, more urea. And as I said to you in the beginning of this particular chapter, urea is also helpful for the absorption of water. Then in what way? In what way? By making more sodium chloride and urea, the concentration gradient is going to be increased over. When it is high concentration, simply we can call high concentration means more salts, less water. Isn't it or not? When you add more salts, it became highly concentrated. It can attract the water comfortably, easily. That we can use a technical word even, hypertonic medium. We can say it as hypertonic medium. High concentration medium, hypertonic medium. With more salts, less water. Okay. Hypertonic medium can attract the water from hypotonic medium. Okay, hypotonic medium. So by maintaining, so that is the same thing is happening here. You see here, by adding sodium chloride and urea, what it became? It became hypertonic. Okay, then what about the fluid who is going here? Hypotonic. That's why they are ready to add water. They are ready to give water to the ascending limb of vasa recta. Simply we can say here, ascending the blood vessel maintaining magic. The blood vessel trying to do some magic. What magic? To attract the water, that invited unwanted gas, sodium chloride and urea. Yeah, unwanted gas, because if you carry the sodium chloride urea continuously into our blood, what happens? Our blood become highly concentrated with urea and sodium chloride. That's it. That just for temporary aspect, they attracted sodium chloride and urea. Okay, sodium chloride and urea. And then with that use of by making high concentration, hypotonic condition, they absorbed water, and after the work is over, work done, sodium chloride urea is given back. Now let me read the NCERT statement here to justify the given one. The mammals have the ability to produce a concentrated urine. The henle loop and the vasa recta play significant role in this, as we have seen. This is henle loop, black one, and vasa recta, the red one. The flow of filtrate in the two limbs of henle loop is in opposite direction, as we made here in this area. Flow of fluid with the blood is in opposite direction, and thus forms a counter current. We said it as a counter flow or counter current multiplier. The flow of the blood through the two limbs of vasa recta is also in counter current pattern. Yeah, you see here, two limbs of vasa recta is also in counter current pattern, because in descending limb blood is going down, ascending limb blood is going up. The proximity between the henle loop and vasa recta, as well as counter current. Okay, proximity means closeness between the henle loop and vasa recta, and the counter flow, that means opposite flow, helpful in maintaining and increasing osmolarity towards the inner medullary interstitium. Okay, helpful to maintain osmolarity towards the inner medullary interstitium. Don't get confused with the word interstitium, nothing but fluid, interstitial fluid, we can say. Okay. Then that means from 300 milliosmol to it was reached to 1200 milliosmol in the inner medulla, in the descending limb of vasa recta. Okay, this gradient mainly caused by, we have to say these two, sodium chloride and urea. Okay, sodium chloride is transported by the ascending limb of Henle's loop, transporting sodium chloride, and Henle's loop which is exchanged with the descending limb of vasa recta. Yes, they are given to descending limb of vasa recta. And that will get doubt here. Sir, what happens if sodium chloride continuously add in the blood? No, we have to written this. That is given in the next statement. Sodium chloride transported by ascending limb of Henle's loop which is exchanged with the descending limb of vasa recta. Sodium chloride is returned to the interstitium by that return to the interstitium. We are giving back the sodium chloride, also urea, return to the interstitium by ascending portion of vasa recta. We are returning. Sir, if we are returning, why are taken, sir? To maintain the osmolarity gradient to absorb the water. Okay, similarly, the small amount of urea also enter the thin segment of ascending limb of Henle's loop, as which is transported back again to the interstitium by the collecting duct. We also take urea, but we are returning urea. The above described transport of substances facilitated by the special arrangement of Henle's loop and vasa recta is called as counter current mechanism. This mechanism helpful to maintain the concentration gradient in the medullary interstitium. Okay, then presence of such interstitial gradient helps in an easy passage of water from the collecting tubule that thereby concentrating the filtrate in the collecting tubule. But because of this particular, when you are moving down from here, that via DCT, you will find finally a concentrated urine. Means more efficient absorption of water makes over more concentrated urine. This is the mechanism you people need to understand, that to maintain, to absorb more amount of water, or to produce hypertonic urine, Okay, so this is all about the counterflow mechanism, or in the text language, if you want say the mechanism of the concentration of the filtrate, Okay, chalo.